All right, good morning, peoples. It's payday. I know in my Swab account, I saw the pay for Coney and Misty and one other one, and then I was waiting on Tesla and GDXY and Coney and Misty, but I didn't see YBIT or TSLY. And I'm adding some AMSI. Okay, guys, so let's jump in here. What happened on Friday with Misty? Well, Misty did pretty good. I've been tracking this beat column and I'll start a new one. So basically, I give the win to whichever fund either went up the most or went down the least. So, like in this case up here, Misty went up 1.32 and they only went up 0.78. So I figure out the difference and create a positive. And then in the case of one of these where I have a negative, it's like, okay, Mr. went up 1.25 and we only went up 1.06. So that's a loss of 20. I'm doing it in the perspective of Misty. So at the end of the day, now I'll reset it and I'll do it for the next month after ex dividend, because ex dividend really doesn't matter. I mean, it matters. It really does matter in the NAV loss, but when it's made up for, I don't count that day. But I do count it in another way, because if you look at this, now we know the 233 was taken out. So when you take 27.33 and you take away $2.33, you get 24.98. And then I went in and calculated, okay, Mr. didn't have such a dividend. They don't pay a dividend. They went down 1.56. So I multiplied, 1.56% against 27.31 and I got 43 cents. So it would have said if we wanted to tie MSTR, we should be 24.55, but in fact we ended up at 24.59. So we had a slight win there. I'm not going to calculate it over here because then I have to put in a different number. I'll just close this out, but I just wanted you to know again what the beat column is all about. I call it something different, I think, in GDXY or in YBIT. But I just thought it was another interesting stat because I get these guys that say, oh, you underperform. Yeah, there's times we clearly underperform in the big moves up, right? But when it's the way BTC has been down generally and slightly down, some big down days, as long as we're not capped on the upside, which we're not when we go down, we tend to win these, right? The problem gets to be when the underlying massively moves up, there's no way we can keep up because that naked call is like a boat anchor, right? The higher we run, the synthetic captures it, but we get bigger and bigger losses on the capped naked call. Okay, so let's jump into what else happened. So we sold, oh yeah, let me show you the sheet. So here's our MSTR trades. So what did they do? They put on 40 contracts additionally for their synthetic, which is at 1550, 1,550, and then they bought to close all of their outstanding calls, which they always do on a Friday. Once in a while, they'll close one out on Thursday when they're way under, and then they sold their next week out at 1410. So now I'm going to remove this and take you through. So let's look at, I don't like it when they don't ladder. I understand it sometimes, but on the 712s, we actually did pretty good because they went 10% out of the money and got $20, right? You see some cases where they got 40, 23, 18, 20s and 30s. So, they could have done one at 1375 or another price and just laddered something in there, right? And collected more money for maybe 400 or 500. I would have liked to have seen that. But in general, they went out pretty far and Bitcoin is falling. So it's up to Bitcoin to reverse this falling. Let's see. Oh, and happy payday, everybody. I mentioned that, but I just, for anybody that skipped forward or something, happy payday. It happens to us once a month. Okay. So they had a buy-in. Again, people love sales. Well, guess what? We went on sale, right? And I think it went even lower during the day and recovered higher. So we put 300,000 more shares in. So hence they were able to do some synthetics with that cash. All right, so let's go look at the synthetics. So that so the synthetics that sold were small, right? We sold 40, but it's in our favor because we were down at 1281 versus the 1550 strike price. So we buy something for almost 18 and sell it for almost 268. So it's ironic that exactly $1 million gain, right? 71,240 versus 1,071,240. That's kind of ironic. You just don't see an even number. So guess what? We didn't have any stats for July. Now we have stats for July. We sold calls, right? Naked weekly calls. We put on a synthetic. So let's go take a look at the weeklies and the holdings and then get to what you guys want to see. So on the weekly, we're 10%, as I mentioned, 1281. We can go all the way to 1410 with 5 trading days. And expiration 712. Okay, volatility still there. This is one of the high volatility funds. So this is now down closer to the 13 mark, but well off coming down to the resistance level. I hope we don't see that. But again, I mentioned it in Coney. I'll do it real fast. On BTC, which YBIT, Coney, and Misty follow, it's been testing 56, went down to 53, came back up to 57, 8-ish. You know, last time I looked, I haven't really looked for a few hours this morning. It was trading, at 55. So the big test, it needs to get back over 60. And if it doesn't, and it lingers around 53, it's going to test 50 to 52, which are major support going back quite a while. And then probably the last position it should go to or could go to would be 44.6. What's particularly about 44.6? Well, turns out it's the Fibonacci retracement of 50% from the beginning of this impulse move up, which was very low, all the way up to 74. So it's not uncommon to get a 50% retrace. Sometimes you get a 61.8, but that would be pretty ugly. That would be pretty ugly, guys. So I'm done with the technical analysis, but I like to at least let people know. Nobody knows where it's going, but you open up probabilities. Every time you drop below a resistance like this 50 to 52, if you look at previous times where it's been at that, it stumbled going up and it got stuck. It was like resistance. Well, hopefully if we go down a little more, that becomes a floor, like major resistance to go down below it. And that's how those things, they work on probabilities. Okay, let's get into the rest of it. So on our holdings, here they are. We've already captured 12.41, right? Because what did I tell you? We sold these for 20 something. What was the number? Yeah, 20.35, right? So we're sitting there at 17.8 and it's all the way up at 14.10. So long as we stay in the 12s and even 1300s, this thing's gonna, the decay is just, this will be 13 and 10 and 7, and it'll go to 0 as long as we stay below 14.10, because, well, if hopefully people buy into the fund, which I'm kind of banking on, and then they write more of the synthetics, right, and sell more calls, because I don't like this. This is that paper loss with, 17 days to go or something. What was our, oh, sorry, that's out at the synthetic level. Yeah, 11 days, right? A week from this coming weekend. So really 10 trading days, for that to happen. And we're getting there, people. We're definitely getting there. Okay, so let's go back to holdings. There's the updated share count. We're 58,000 in the hole, right? It's a paper loss, but with that number of days, they probably wouldn't roll this Friday unless we just continue down on BTC, dragging Mister down to 1100s or some low number. Then they might just go ahead and roll and eat it and get a new one to run above. You never know, but usually the earliest I see them is a week out, so that would be toward the end of this week. So we went from 48 to 58. We were at 35 a little while ago and 33. I haven't updated these dates, but understand that they're all current. I updated the data. Okay, this would have been the third because markets weren't open. Okay, let's go to payouts and take a look at what we got because I know the day's coming for all of us out there ahead. All right. So, let me touch on this. Here's the 300,000 shares, 2.49 on sale. 24.59 is where we closed, so they're saying we're 11%, 11 cents premium to the net asset value. Let's take a look at holdings. This is positive, guys. Holding payouts. So we didn't have any stats here. We're now 12,350,000 shares, and we have 5.5 million in income. So 45 cents of income to distribute, right? 4,500, 4,500,000 in the short call. All that stuff we wrote, as long as we stay below 14.10, that's our money to keep, which honestly, it looks like it. And then we collected 1 million by buying the call and writing. Now, that's going to come back on us if we don't move up to the 1550 level, right? But if they roll it and they roll it into another one, say, 1300 and we're at 11 or 12, then they're going to collect money when they sell those. So it's a game of playing chase, right? Or tag, you're it. And unless it just stays going down, going down, going down, I'm bullish, right? But I'm also a realist, right? I'm not ready to sell, but I have a hedge on and have had a hedge on by going short BTC and other methods. But I really don't like trading out of my Misty and Coney. I did one time sell a big chunk of Coney and move it to Misty, but I left it all in Misty and used some other funds to buy back about 60% of what I had sold in Coney. So again, I'm bullish midterm, but I'm a realist in understanding it could go much lower. I'll take the income and I'll allow my insurance to make a little money for me. Okay, guys, that's what I got for you. On one hand, it's looking good at collecting money. On the other, I would like see it move back up into higher numbers for the underlying BTC, which will drag everything up. Okay, not financial advice, not a financial advisor. Have a great week ahead and enjoy your payday, whatever funds you own. Any of your YIELDMAX is obviously what I'm referring to since it's YIELDMAX's payday. Okay, guys, don't forget to like and comment. I get a lot of comments. I get some likes. And tell your friends, my channel grows for all the effort when you tell people about it. Okay, appreciate it. Okay, guys, bye.